more on the reforms of the tax code. Ruben Olmos joins us here in the studio, managing partner of Global Nexus. Welcome back to Biz Asia America. Let me just explain very quickly these tax reforms. They were voted on, proposed by the president. The Congress has approved it. They will take into effect January 1st of next year. Question: what was wrong with the old code?
Phil, first of all, thank you for having me again in your program. Well, it's been an interesting couple of months in Mexico with all these reforms that President Peña Nieto and his administration and members of Congress of all political parties have been moving forward. Mexico has been really trying to change the fiscal code and the reform reform it for quite a while now. Mexico has one of the lowest tax income perspectives in the entire world. Mexico is part of the OECD and has one of the lowest one in the OECD countries. So that means that the government is not really capturing what they need to capture in order to do social programs.
Okay, so there's not enough, they're not getting enough revenue, they're not getting enough taxes. This new reform that starts next year, they're going to tax the wealthy more, they're going to tax junk food and who knows what else, they're going to tax capital gains profits. So there's a variety of stuff in there. There's something for everyone to dislike, basically. Who likes this and who doesn't like this?
It was a very controversial reform. People in Congress really debated. Interest groups were all over Congress trying to lobby against or in favor of it. I think this fiscal reform benefits the poor people of Mexico, people that really need social programs in their towns and their cities. There's a lot of controversy with the business community. The business community is arguing that because of raising taxes, they're not going to be able to invest. For example, there's a very controversial tax along the border states where all the maquiladoras are there. As you know, Mexico has been really benefited from the maquiladora industry for many, many years. Now, the tax will go from 11% to 16%. A lot of people are afraid that maquiladoras are going to leave the borders and they're going to go to other parts of the world.
So, look, some would argue that you can raise taxes to whatever you want to raise it to. It's a matter of collecting the taxes. How big of a problem is that?
That's a huge problem. A lot of people are finding the usual loopholes not to pay taxes. And I think that's what the government is trying to tackle. They're trying to make sure that people are actually paying taxes in order to invest that in infrastructure and development that the country really needs.
One thing that's unique to Mexico, maybe it's not that unique to other developing countries, but there's this official economy, then there's the unofficial economy that we maybe not talk about or see every single day. What is this unofficial economy and why is it so big in Mexico?
Informality is a huge problem in Mexico. I was recently researching some numbers, and 6 out of 10 Mexicans are in the informal economy.
But what is it?
It's just people that have a little store around their house or near their house, and they sell from food, they sell products, they even go and repair a refrigerator, for example, to your house. Obviously, they don't pay taxes.
Are these small business owners, basically?
They're small business owners.
And they don't pay taxes, they're not registered, they do nothing.
They don't pay taxes, they even steal electricity from the street. In order for their business to have electricity, they go up and hook up illegally to the electricity, so they don't pay electricity.
That is fascinating. And so what can the government really, I mean, I can sense the problem here because they're probably barely making ends meet as well. So the government can't be too hard on them, but what can the government do then?
Well, the government, as part of the fiscal reform, is offering some business development programs. How can you help finance those small business owners that really want to do something, that are not finding a job in the formal economy? So what the government wants to do is help them develop a business and obviously pay taxes.
All right. I love sugary drinks. I love soda and Coke and all this bad stuff that well, so-called people say bad anyways. And Mexico's going to tax soda. There's going to be a big soda tax. There's a revolt almost in New York just over the size of the soda. How are the Mexican citizens then reacting to this very unique tax?
It was one of the probably hardest battles that they had to fight in Congress. Mexico has a high rate of obesity. Some organizations say that the highest in the world. And obviously the large companies like Coca-Cola and all of them were really affected by this tax. They lobbied as much as they could.
And they lost.
And they lost the battle. And not just Coca-Cola, but we're talking about other companies that sell chips, that sell cakes, that sell all sorts of junk food, per se. I think that the government was really, really strict in this aspect. Really wants to tackle the problem of obesity. And
so it's for health reasons. So after all these battles of reforms and the right and the left arguing over it, there are going to be some social benefits, I'm assuming. What are they likely to be?
Well, An interesting thing is that the leftist party, the PRD, voted in favor of the fiscal reform because the fiscal reform had a lot of social content in it. On the other side, the center-right party, the PAN, most of them voted against the fiscal reform. A lot of people were scared about further protests because Mexico has had a lot of protests recently with all these reforms. I don't think it's going to be the case because, again, a lot of the unions and a lot of the poorer groups of Mexico are going to be benefited with this reform.
Well, we got a little bit of time. We'll see how this goes next year. Ruben Olmos, thank you very much. Always good to have you on talking about Mexico, certainly an expert on this topic.